We are back at the bug ranch, at the new bug ranch. The seals have arrived, the kit has arrived from the Czech Republic, and we are going to be removing the engine from this bike, rebuilding the engine right quick, putting it back together, and hopefully we'll be able to get it started, check it out, make sure everything's operating properly. So let's get underway. I've gotten hold of an original Babetta workshop manual. This is from '72, slightly older, but this should get me in the ballpark. I have to remove the exhaust system first before anything. Thing is still leaking transmission fluid from when I filled the cylinder during checking. We can see some of the transmission fluid has made its way into the exhaust. We'll let that drain out. Now I'm going to remove the Transistor ignition. 2 bolts under here. Taking this out like 10 times already. Nothing to it. Now we're going to disconnect the chain. I've moved the master key right over here. I'm going to put a little oil on this first before I try and release it. Engine mounting bolts are 13. Whole engine supported on the last bolt. The remaining connection is the decompression valve, which will be removed after the engine is removed from the case. So I'll just lift up, work this one out. Gonna give me a little fight. There we go. The engine's dropped. Very nice. That came out easy. No worries at all. I'll hold it straight up so the valve can now be disconnected. Every nut and bolt I've worked with so far has been put back in the frame or the engine. You can see the engine mounting bolts, the bolts for the carburetor, and on the underside, the bolts for the exhaust and exhaust mounts. Not a single nut or bolt is laying on this table, I assure you. Table has no parts. Good practice. Now I'm going to press down on the decompression valve and get that retainer out from under the clip. It's hard to see because everything's really grimy, but if I could get the pressure off of the cable. If not, I'll just remove the whole valve as one piece. A closer inspection, now that I've removed the grime, reveals a cotter pin here that holds the tension of the spring. I could see that now. So I just removed that cotter pin. Should remove enough spring tension here. There we go. The pin is out. Not the best angle, but there's not a whole lot of room to work here. And now this piece comes off right there. Yeah, the much easier solution was to just bring the spring down and get the spring around the cable. There's an opening here in the spring. Yeah, so now this should just come right out. Very good. Not knowing what that connector looks like, I opted to just remove the entire decompression valve and then take a look. It's good. It's a lot safer than breaking it. So I'm just taking a 15 here, pulling the whole valve out, seeing what it looks like. I just don't want to ruin it, that's all. There's the safer way. Find out why this was so difficult. Yeah, nothing about this was difficult. I wanted to be sure. Just a standard fitting, but dear God. Yeah, I didn't want to break it. Good, I don't care. That's fine. Take the whole valve out and be done with it. These last wires are going to be cut because I'm not going to reuse these old connectors. We're going to put some nice connectors on here. Bike is off the table, and now we're just going to be working with the engine. I'm using the manual here as a guide. I don't have any of the special tools. I don't do this for a living. This is the first and probably last I'll ever see. We have pre-loosened this bolt here last week, so it shouldn't take much effort to get this bolt off. This bolt came off without an issue. We had previously loosened it before. You can see a little bit of rust there. Try and focus. A little bit of rust there at the base. Not concerning since we're about to open this all up anyway. There we go. And there's a clutch. We could get a nice look at the insides of the clutch here. Seems to be good. Looks okay. Nice and clean. Don't see any corruption. So I'm going to remove the clutch internals. I'm going to start with the spring right here. The spring is removed. I'll be able to remove the clutch plates now. And they're just sitting here on individual pivots. There were 3 of them. Now that they're no longer under any tension, they should be able to come right up. It's a very simple system, not much different than a lawnmower. Not a lawnmower, like a weed whacker. See, there's one right there. And we could probably clean this up a little. We don't want to oil it though. We clean up this inner face too here. And I'll only remove these to get a pulley on here so I don't damage them, and then I'll put them back in. There we go, everything's fully removed. We could get a puller on here now to take this side off. Again, I don't have the special tool to do this, so I'm going to use a different method. We're going to pull the clutch carrier. Again, we don't have any special tools to do this. We're going to use a standard puller. We're going to have to slightly modify for this task. So this is what I've cobbled together. I've managed to get screws of the same thread type, got the puller in place, and I'm just going to get started by tightening this down and raising it up. I'm going to be real careful, of course, because this isn't the standard procedure to do this. Worked. Broke loose, no problem whatsoever. I expected a little more tension on that, but yeah. Take it out. Very nice. I had to use this bolt 2 in the middle because the piece that came with the puller is too shallow. So I used that bolt as well. It wasn't seen in the video. There we go. Nice and clean, no damage. That off to the side. Move on to the next piece. Incidentally, before I do any further work, we get to see our first seal ring. This one is torn up. This is on the lubricated side too. If this is any indication of what we're gonna find, yeah, there's no doubt this needed to be done. These clutches here sit on these 2 pivots very much like the last ones. I could lift this up if I could get a hook under them in one piece. I just don't want to lose anything. If not, I'll have to get them out in 2 pieces. There's actually some locking clips right here that hold it into place. We can see that right here. I see that now. Helps to look at the instructions. And I'm going to remove these locking clips. There's one. Put it on the paper there. You can see that. Here's the other locking clip right here. That's why it wasn't coming out. There was 2. Now we should be able to lift up these clutch plates. One piece. There it goes. Very nice. I'll just place that spring back on there now so it doesn't get lost. Clutch removed. This is what we're left with. Clips gone, plates removed, and now we'll just pull out this seal. Try and get it out without damaging it so I can have a better look at it. This one's actually putting up a fight. necessitating the need for the seal puller. I was surprised. There's just no good way to get this one out. So, do what we can. Unbelievable. I mean, this one really in there. Set up a seal puller for something this small. We could see this circlip buried way down in there. Camera angle doesn't point to it now, but it is now exposed. And this is what we got. I did some of that damage, but this thing is petrified. There's no rubber left to the seal. This is as hard as stone. So again, an indication, and this was on the oil side, you know, the side that maybe saw some residual oil. These are garbage. Let's continue. I've removed the snap ring. I lifted this off, and then it exposes these two flathead screws. And I believe at that point, that's this side of the case. I think that's done. Screws will come out. This portion of the case will come off, I assume. I'd have to look at the instructions, but doing pretty good here overall. We stop and take a moment to say hello to Winter Garden's favorite Canadian. Hello, Jason. How you doing, eh?
What's my name?
Fabio. We're going to stop there, and now we're going to move to the other side of the engine. Turned it around. Let's get started. Looks like we suffered our first casualty. This sheared off this nut here. We're going to take off the stator plate. We're going to remove it and see what we can do. Doesn't look like a big deal. Looks like we could drill, tap, and replace. Let's see what we got. Was able to pull this right off with no issues. And then I didn't have the special tool. Just came right under there. Jimmied this off. Before we start any repair work on this screw, it's worth noting that as opened, it looks like the seal is just like halfway out. This is how it was found. Seems like it just popped out of here. I'm going to pull the seal out before we continue. We'll stop and do this repair work right quick. It wasn't even in. I just tapped it with the hook. It just fell out. And it looks like it's in perfect condition, you know, but it's petrified. It's like stone. I'm sure if I squeezed it, it would crack and probably cut me. So I'm not, but I'm going to put it with the collection. Petrified. The bolt was a no-go. We heated it and it broke off again. We're just going to drill and tap and not worry about it. We're going to proceed with this job and revisit that.
I'm gonna kill you.
I think the Canadian said something. What do you say, eh?
I'm gonna kill you.
Oh, go pick up lunch now, eh?
Or you close the drawer.
Open the drawer, close the drawer.
I'll leave it hanging open.
Open the drawer, close the drawer, you hoser. Stopped and very carefully re-tapped and threaded this here. Got a new bolt in. This is completely fixed. This is no longer an issue. We're going to continue where we left off now. Next thing I'm going to do is remove the head from the engine. I'm going to alternate the slackening of these head bolts. They're not very tight. But still, at that point already, they're loose enough. I could just take them off one by one. We're gonna pull the head off now. No problem at all. There we go. Combustor chamber looks okay. Everything looks okay. I mean, there's nothing really wrong here. Basically, the seals. It's a low mileage engine. Piston face. Yeah, looking at the engine now. Piston face. A little bit of debris on there. Nothing. Again, nothing disconcerting. Cylinder walls look good. I think I could almost still see some cross hatching there. I might be mistaken. Yeah, I can still see some cross hatching in those cylinder walls. So, yeah, that's in very nice condition. And we're off. Like on the bottom. Like it's scored on the bottom, but not on the top, like the weight distribution. Again, as far as the rings go, the rings look good. It seems okay. I'm going to take a closer look inside itself and get this cleaned out. Have a look. Yeah, I call it like I wouldn't want to call it scoring, but it definitely left a very, very mild impression. I'm not worried about it for this engine. It seems just fine though. There's no real damage in here, but it's only on the bottom. On the top, it's like glass, so probably rotate those rings when I put them back in, but that's about it. So now we're going to remove the engine crankcase cover. There are several flathead screws that hold this on. We're almost at the end of this breakdown here. It's very exciting. I've never worked on these before. I'm going completely out of the book on this. There's all the screws. Now we'll use some percussion tools to split this. I'll go get a mallet, a rubber mallet. And it is broken free. So now it's just a matter of getting it separated from the gasket now. This is already broken free. They did not make this cover easy to remove. I think it's because of this bearing right here seating in this got stuck, but I was able to get it off, and I have a replacement gasket for this, so no matter. But this is the engine crankcase cover now removed, so I'll put this off to the side and put those bolts back in there so they don't get lost. I've removed this first gear here. I should have read the instructions more carefully. They are needle bearings, so, I mean, not a big deal. I just make sure that I count 26 needles, which I will. And under that, as I pull it closer, we have another seal. There's going to be number 3. There's going to be more breakdown. I'm just pointing out that that's 3 of what I believe to be 6. Center gear was removed with a puller. That came right out. Now it's time to loosen the remaining flathead screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for the case split and pressing out of the crankshaft from the right-hand side of the case. Split the case on the 20-ton press. This came out very nicely. Incidentally, this seal seems pretty good. This is buried deep in the engine. Obviously, it's going to be replaced. This covers, I think I've identified 4 now, 4 gaskets. I got 2 on the table, 1, 2. I got number 3 here. I got 4 sitting on that case. I'm still looking for the 5th one. So still a little bit of work to do here. I don't know if they send 5 and I only need 4. I'm going to keep investigating. I'm going to start cleaning parts. And I'm going to start cleaning parts and breaking this down even further. There's an instruction for cleaning this up while it's removed, and I'm going to do that too. This is the first piece I'm going to take to the tank, and this does have a seal and 2 sets of bearings. We're not going to be replacing any bearings. These are all fine. Then remove this and get started on it. Now I begin the process of cleaning and degreasing each part, then drying it off like this one, and I pull the old gasket out. This is what I'm going to do now till everything is nice and cleaned up before I start putting in new gaskets and seals and start the assembly process again. I'll flip this around. You see this is clean too. I'm going to dry this out, and then I'm going to oil the bearings though. I don't want them to rust, so these are going to be re-oiled. Even cleaning some of the little parts. Here's the decompression valve, and it's like a mini valve there, as you'd expect. So there it is when it's opened. Lets air go through the head out the front. So that's going to go back on as I clean more stuff. I think I finally found seal number 5. It's buried behind here, so I have to remove the engagement mechanism. I'll pull all this off. There's the seal. I'll remove it during the cleaning, and that'll be the end of the seal removal project. We'll fall into the cleaning project, which will be the resealing project, and then finally the engine assembly project. So pretty cool. Seems to be a spring buried down there. The diagram shows the spring popping right out with this mechanism. I'm gonna have to fish it out and see what's going on here. It's also a bearing. Could I caught that? And another bearing. I'm sure this is seized. And another bearing. 3 bearings now. Oh yeah, look at that, it's all rusted up and filled with grease, and God knows what, we'll wash that out. Yeah, what it is, it's petrified grease. Petrified grease, so that's what happened. But it's actually not rusted too bad. The grease has just turned into a hardened mass. So I'll be able to clean that up. I'll be able to pull that seal, but this is where we want to be. So this is a good thing. There it goes. And she's out of there. There's all 5 seals of the engine removed. At the end of the day, this is what we ended up with. A completely stripped, completely cleaned engine, all of the seals removed. And next time we come back, we'll be putting in the new seals. We'll be checking the mating surfaces, cleaning up any remaining gasket material, and restarting assembly of this engine. So that's it for the Jawa engine breakdown. Thanks for watching.
I'm done.